think ours is the Thursday. Check the day. Last was the breakfast. I have to go buy 6 pounds of bacon tonight.
I thank everybody for coming this morning. Will you join us for a short prayer? Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for all the blessings you bestow upon us. Dear Lord, we thank you for this opportunity to be here to lead the county. We just pray, dear Lord, that the decisions we make here today would be the best for the most people in the county, and the decisions we make would be pleasing unto you. We ask, dear Lord, that you lay your hand upon our law enforcement officers and help keep them safe. And we ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen. We'll declare this meeting open. If you'll join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I thank everybody for coming this morning. We've got kind of a lengthy agenda, but we'll move through it as quick as we can. Minutes of our last meeting have been circulated among the commissioners. I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make that motion to approve.
Second. All in favor? We also have a claims docket that's been circulated among the commissioners. I'd entertain a motion to approve the claims.
I'll also make that motion.
Second. All in favor? We also have a payroll docket that's been circulated. I'd entertain a motion to approve the payroll.
And I'll also make that motion.
Second. All in favor? At this time, we are going to suspend the regular commissioners meeting for a public hearing. Marvin, would you like to?
I would take care of that. For any who might not have found the sign-up sheet, please do, although looking around the room, I think maybe all but one has signed and he's committed. So the time is 9:35 on February 18, 2025. We're in the Commissioner's Room, the Greene County Courthouse. This meeting was advertised in compliance with Indiana Code 5-3-1 and was specifically advertised in the Greene County Daily World on February 4, 2025. The purpose of the meeting is to receive comments or concerns regarding the county's owner-occupied rehabilitation project that took place in unincorporated areas of the county. This project has provided assistance to 6 housing units. The total grant from Indiana Housing and Community Development Authority was $128,317.43. The county provided, SIDC provided the county with the USD Rural Development HPG grant in the amount of $59,784.86 that served as matching funds for the project. The types of work included that were performed include windows, roofing, heating, plumbing, air conditioning, electrical, etc. 2 contractors from Greene County worked the 6 housing units. All homes have been completed. All houses will be inspected by a third-party inspector controlled by the Indiana Housing and Community Development Authority. This should take place within a couple of weeks. Any identified deficiencies will be addressed at that time by the contractor and then re-inspected by SIDC. Are there any comments or concerns with regard to the grant that anyone in the room would like to speak to? Hearing none, I'd like to provide just a little bit of explanation as to what happened. The grant originally was going to assist 10 homes. At the time the application was submitted, only 8 applications were on file. The project ended up assisting 5 homes with IHCDA funds and 1 home with rural development funds. The project was ready to move forward, but some applicants didn't submit all of their information. After trying to get the additional information, ended up with a total of 7 houses. However, the deadline of December 20th, 2024 came around pretty quickly. The contractor involved in one of the houses indicated that he simply would not be able to complete the home by that date, and in fact, money had to be applied for draw during the week of December 7th. And so the program came to a close with only 6 houses total being assisted. As a result, money has been left in the pot. We don't have a choice but to ask the commissioners upon return of the regular session to deobligate those funds. I believe that will be the next step following close of the public meeting. One last shot at comments. Hearing none, I'll turn the meeting back over to Commissioner Abrams.
With no questions or comments, I entertain the motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? We'll resume our regular commissioners meeting at this time. Next is the housing grant deobligation of funds. I think Marvin just explained all this, so I would entertain a motion to deobligate the remaining funds of the grant.
And that amount is $121,682.57. Really hate to see that left on the table.
Yep.
I guess I saw that number. That is the correct number?
According to Jenny, it is. Let me reread the letter.
I saw that letter from her, but I just understand from the hearing that we had approximately $170,000, $180,000.
The letter was prepared for us by SIDC. It indicates that a total of $128,317.43 was spent in IHCDA funds.
Okay.
Separate from the rural development matching funds that were available, and that the county is deobligating the remaining $121,682.57. That would have been a total grant of $250,000.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I misunderstood that. It's a lot of money. I wish we could have spent it.
Yep. Could have helped a lot of people. So I would entertain a motion to deobligate the funds.
So made.
Second.
All in favor? Next, we have Greene County Ambulance Service excess vehicle bid opening. This is something that the ambulance department had an excess ambulance that they asked to put up for bids. I want to irritate Commissioner Graves to no end right here.
Go ahead.
I know you hate to see me struggle to get these things open. This bid is from Kyle and Chelsea Brown. Their bid is $3,300.
Did the ambulance board place a minimum bid on that?
I don't think we did on that one. They just reserved the right to reject them. Yeah. That's, needs an engine, so.
Do we need to post this to the ambulance board?
I wouldn't mind to make the motion that we would accept the bid pending approval by the ambulance board. If they'll approve it, well, it's fine with me. I think we need to get that.
I have a motion.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor? Do the best you can. Next, we have the Greene County Clerk with micro voting machines upgrade.
Good morning.
Madam Clerk.
How are you guys today?
Wonderful.
So we have a purchase agreement for 64 new voting panels and all the software upgrade. The council has approved the first half of it. The whole amount for these machines is $179,200. We have the first $89,600 to pay out. Looks like the only change to our annual maintenance agreement is we're going to go up to $15,000 from $12,000 that we're currently at, and that'll be the next 4 years on that, because I've already paid this year's $12,000 fee. And we just need a signature if you guys want to.
I've got a question. What happens if the council doesn't appropriate the other half of the money?
Well, in that case, the clerk's in a lot of trouble.
Okay, I have no problem with that.
There is a provision in the contract that reminds the vendor that we are a government entity, that this is subject to appropriation of funds, and that if appropriation does not take place, then they're not going to get paid, and that we will work with them 30 days following to return the machines.
It just baffles me why we don't go ahead and appropriate all the money to begin with.
This is no new machines, right? We're not going to have more machines or anything?
No.
This is just upgrades to existing machines?
Upgrades to the components within the system.
So we'll still have the same machines, just be upgraded?
Yes.
And then that maintenance agreement, we don't have elections every year. We pay maintenance agreement
Yes.
even the years we don't have elections.
Yes.
I'm just assuming that's software
Yes.
maintenance.
Yes. And with this, they will come down and train us on the new panels. They provide all the training, the books. On election day, they send down somebody for emergency repair services that we can send out to wherever we need to be.
Questions, comments?
You're happy with it, I assume that.
Yeah. It'd be a lot more if we went a different direction.
I'd entertain a motion to approve the agreement.
So made.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Next, we have the Greene County Highway wheel tax funded paving bids. Good morning, Roger.
Good morning, how are you guys?
Good.
It's that time of year, we've got bid packages ready to go out for our annual wheel tax / MVH paving and chip and seal projects. I think Marvin's seen it and has approved the bid package, and you guys, I'm sure all got it sent to you.
Just a little bit ago.
Yeah, it was, hey, you got it. So I just want to let you know, and the bids will be due your second meeting in March. So make sure we're good to go.
I guess I would entertain a motion to go out for the wheel tax funded paving bids.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Thanks, Roger.
I'll get you guys to sign it when the meeting's over. Oh, because I have to sign that.
you.
I have no board appointments this morning. Brianne sent word that she would not be here this morning. So County Attorney, do you have anything this morning?
Nothing that won't take place in the next topic.
Sorry about that.
I like that tune. For discussion item we had this morning, we had the Travelers Motor Vehicle Records Policy. This got tabled at our last meeting.
I don't feel any better about it. 2 weeks later.
Marvin, have you got any input from any department heads, which is what we asked for?
No, I don't.
Do you feel any better about it now?
No,
No? You still don't?
I still don't like it.
Maybe Travelers can make us feel better.
Well, it's, obviously the MVRs are important for those that don't know me, my name's Mark Babs and I'm with First Security Insurance. The MVRs is not for every employee, obviously, it's for the employees that drive county vehicles,
Which is a lot of them.
which is a lot of them.
Or their own vehicle for county purposes.
Yes, probably so, yes.
That's what was mentioned in there.
Yeah, and, obviously you don't want to be, number one, hiring someone with a bad driving record, or number two, you gotta keep up on everybody's driving record throughout the year. They could be going to Florida and get 2 speeding tickets going, 100 mile an hour and not know it. And then if something happens while they are driving a county vehicle, they have an accident or something like that, obviously if it gets thrown in court, I'm sure Marvin can help me on this, it's gonna look pretty bad if you haven't done any driving, MVR background checks on these employees, for 5 or 6 years, not keeping up on their records. Every company requires, or pushes, let me put it that way, MVRs if there's vehicles involved, company-owned autos.
Yeah, I think we're just relying a lot on both self-notification and who's going to oversee this and how much paperwork's that going to add and whose responsibility. It's just to start a program like this and not enforce it is worse than not to have one.
Absolutely.
So, yes, Mark.
I just wanted to comment that, in effect, we're already not enforcing an apparent policy. It's not one that's written down, but every one of the job descriptions that govern county employees say that among the requirements are a valid Indiana driver's license and a demonstrated safe driving record. That's already in place.
Right, I'm just not sure how much this is going to cost us to enforce it and if we're willing to enforce it.
Yeah, we'll have to be sure everybody's reminded every year. We'll have somebody available to pull all those MVRs.
How many employees drive their own vehicles for county use? Do we know?
Probably not very many, but we do.
There's 3 sitting at this table.
When you have conferences and trainings
Right.
that are taking place during the workday,
Actually, the potential's there for every county employee to drive their own vehicle for county business.
somebody
The
runs
potential
the
is
post
there.
office, gets hit in the intersection.
I just think it's a huge undertaking, a huge financial undertaking, and then even tougher for me, the enforcement part of it. If we're not willing to enforce it, I don't think we should commit to it.
Mark, what would be the consequences of not committing?
Well, they should already do your policy, obviously, and like I said, every company's gonna require it. I don't know one that doesn't require MVRs, especially
department that has a lot of drivers involved, along with the sheriff's department. Is this a judgment call? Who's going to make the final decision? It's hard enough to keep and get employees as it is without saying, okay, we see you've had a problem 10 years ago, you're fired. Who's going to make the calls on these things? Is it a judgment call? I hate judgment calls.
First of all, I think we're looking, and the insurance company is looking at a 5-year history of 1 to 10.
Even that.
Second, they're looking at either a volume of lesser offenses or conviction of certain greater offenses, like OWI, which is going to affect your CDLs anyway.
Which we would know immediately.
Exactly.
We would know immediately.
Exactly.
So it's not anything hidden there. That's my concern. And I understand the small infractions, that's what, I went out and got a fine for 7 miles an hour over 35, I was running 42. I don't think I should be even close to be able to lose my job over something. That's what I say, is it a judgment and who makes that call?
What the insurance company is saying is 3 or more moving violations within 5 years.
3 or more?
I believe it was 3 or more, creates at least the impression that the individual is a poor driver. Now, there may be other things that can be done. Driver education in that sort of situation may be an option, and that's why we're trying to talk about and fine-tune what we do have. And so I'm glad to have your input.
That's my concern.
Driver education.
I come from a racing background with a lot of judgment calls, and I don't like judgment calls.
Must have been hard.
Yeah. Very tough. From one day to the next, what was going to be what?
Also, if you do have a driver that does get 2 or 3 infractions in a 3, 4, 5-year period, they can be put on a watch, so to speak. Not necessarily they're going to lose their job, but the insurance company's going to put on a watch, and they will probably run making sure that the driver starts something.
We're lucky enough to find a CDL driver, right alone, to have so many, too many stipulations on this stuff. And obviously, legally, we have to go look at that anyway, in that order.
Right.
To make sure he is a CDL, everything's cool there. So, we're kind of doing it already.
What I would contemplate from your department and from the sheriff's department is simply I know George has commented that they have some issues with regard to pulling data and then sharing that data outside the sheriff's department. So I would just ask the sheriff's department to certify to HR that anyone driving a county vehicle or a personal vehicle used for county purposes has an acceptable driving record.
Brooke and I both got on the internet, went to B&B's website and pulled our record, but we didn't pull the one you had to pay for, which is
Exactly.
And it's simple to do. But Brooke and I are going to be doing it for everybody. I'll just put it that way. And that's fine, but my part's not that. It's the judgment calls.
Sure. And while you brought that topic up, I did want to mention that through the BMV's website and a login to my BMV, available free to everyone, is a personal driving transcript. You can pull that transcript to look at it on screen, or you can download it so it can be printed and turned into, for instance, HR. As far as a judgment call, Roger, coming back to that issue, one possible approach to that would be that, first of all, the records are likely to HR, but if HR spots something of concern, it would be referred, and that's not what this current thing says, but it's one of the revisions we could make, could be referred to the Personnel Administration Committee.
then it becomes a judgment call. Then it becomes a judgment
And
call.
a real judgment.
Yep.
And certainly a department head can appear.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be more than glad to come and speak, but, I mean, that's there again.
Well, I know somebody that sits on that committee, so I know that it becomes a judgment call at that time.
Yeah. And of course, there again, I come from an area that you can appeal it, guess what, you ain't gonna win. You can appeal the way you want, you're not gonna win.
I can about guarantee it'll be that way with the personnel administrator committee.
Yeah, so I just wanted to, I'm good with whatever we have to do. I mean, it's just part of our jobs if we have to do it. That's my concern.
I feel like ultimately we're going to be forced to do it. I ran all my employees a few weeks ago, and I came up to that and I had some discussions about several things. I think ultimately we won't have a choice. We do have time, but we need to start developing a plan. We're good. Well, I have one question, like, what's it been, 2 years ago, roughly, we put ADL in our cars. And one of the things that we do with ADL, I can tell where every deputy is, we put it in the ambulances too. We can also tell the speed report. And we get a notification, we do a lot of emergency driving as well as the ambulances. I get, Terry gets, we get notifications if they're running over 80. Do we get any credit from the insurance company for putting things like that in place?
That's absolutely what we need to communicate to them.
We have all.
You get the privilege that they might cover you.
Every one of
That's what you get.
I should have said, 99% of our vehicles have the same GPS system where, you know, that person says you just had a truck fly by here 90 miles an hour. And I said, yes, we just had a truck go by there at 36 miles an hour. It's read every 3 seconds.
I think we should get a little bit of credit for taking those steps as well.
Absolutely.
There's, you know, things we could do, but we ran all of our employees. Nobody's had any current moving violations. You know, my thing, and Marlon and Ed and I have discussed this, is the systems that we use are regulated by the FBI, monitored and audited by the state police. It's a trickle-down effect, but we have very well-defined rules that we have to use. Even though you can go onto my B&B account and get pretty much the same information, the law says I can't disseminate. You can't call in a license plate and say, George, who's this bill belong to? I can't give you that information. That's the rules I have to work within for the systems that we operate. So it's easy for me to sit back and run all my employees because I have that database and I can do it because they're an employee there. But I wish we could be more helpful there, but there's probably going to have to be a process whether you put it on the employee or you can buy online access to check arrest records and all that too. But I think we all embrace that it's coming. It's not mandatory yet, but it will be probably within our careers.
Well, I
By
mean,
every major carrier.
from my standpoint is, I know, George, you take care of all your people. Roger takes care of all the highway people, and Doug looks at all the ambulance people. But John Q. employee out here that works in whatever office, you know, and they decide that they're gonna drive to some, you know, conference someplace, that they should have to worry about that. Or that we should have to monitor that. That's, I mean, it's maybe a once or twice a year event that happens.
I'm kind of with Nathan. The professional drivers in the county, I'm not concerned. Your 3 departments, that's easy. If we want to enforce it, we want to monitor, that's great. It's the other 100 employees that we have out there.
Right.
How are we going to enforce that, and what are we going to do about it? If the clerk has a bad driving record, we're going to tell her she can't go to that conference, or she can't go to that, or what? You know, we have a lot of elected officials that, you know, what do you do about it? How do you enforce it?
Not just elected officials, just regular employees, hourly employees that need to drive themselves to that conference for whatever reason, and maybe it only happens once a year, why do we need to take and dedicate the resources it's going to take to keep up on every single employee?
I've got employees like that, and I go ahead and include them, because like my maintenance man, he drives to the hardware multiple times during the week.
Sure.
I've got a lot of things like, the office staff drives to the courthouse, drives to the post office, so we go ahead and include all those people again. It's a little easier for me to do that, but there's a lot of people that do drive to the county, I get it.
Yes, Marvin?
The other issue related to that is that, we live in a litigious society. I don't recall that we've received any tort claim notices in 2025 yet. We're still working on notices that are in litigation from 2019. The minute a plaintiff's lawyer determines that an employee was driving to and from a conference on county time, the county is going to be included as a co-defendant in the petition, in the lawsuit, if a lawsuit is filed. The county is the deep pocket in theory. So one of the questions that has to be answered, and that's why you guys get paid the big bucks, is whether or not you are willing to assume those defense costs in not requiring this of mainstream employees, so to speak, or if the small inconvenience, relatively speaking, of collecting a piece of paper or an electronic document once a year in order to make sure that coverage is extended is worth the trouble. I don't think that I've seen any defense work that the county hasn't ended up being out of pocket at least $10,000 because of the way the policies are written and what we have to cover, etc. Now that may be small potatoes, but that's not the limit. The sky is the limit in those cases. So like I said, the question is how much inconvenience versus how much expense is the county willing to cover if that unfortunate incident occurs and the county gets named.
But again, I would think that we would be more liable if we enact it and we don't enforce it than we would be if we didn't have one at all. So I think that we have to...
I disagree respectfully.
Okay.
That's a 6 of one, half a dozen of the other issue. It's not going to make a difference to a plaintiff's lawyer.
If I could add something also. Number one, at the end of the day, the insurance company is going to be the one determining, making the judgment on whether the driver can drive a county vehicle or not, if it's within question. Number two, as far as running NDRs, we can help do that for employees, and I believe it's a $10 per. And number three, let me get with travelers. I feel 90% what they're concerned is the drivers that are driving county-owned vehicles. The ones going to conferences and things like that once a year, I just don't think that that's their main concern. But let me check with the underwriter.
Well, I mean, if we can make a policy where it's only county-owned vehicles, that makes it a lot easier for
Oh, I
them.
know, yeah, so, and I think that's really what they're concerned about. They just don't want someone driving a dump truck that has a shaky.
And I agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me check with him on.
But that's not the way their sample policy reads.
Right, exactly. It's not. But let me talk to them. I mean, it's a little bit, I think it's a little bit unrealistic to try to run NDRs on every employee that might drive their own vehicle to the post office or to a convention every year. So let me just get some clarification on the recommendation that they're doing.
Well, I would be a lot happier with that.
We wouldn't have to table this again.
So I'll see what I can find out.
Can you also see, Mark, there's some credit for some of the things we put in place? The sheriff's department, ambulance, highway department on monitoring. We are trying to do the best we can to monitor it, you know, but, and we have people that have to break the speed limit every day, I get that, but we try to make it a safe and prudent. Now, there's, if you go over 80, like I said, we get alerted, then you have to explain it, we have to look at the call. If, you know, there's a lot that goes into that equation, but it's, you don't just get to violate that and not, it's gonna be examined.
Yep.
Now, is the GPS in all your vehicles, Roger, whether it's a pickup truck or a dump truck?
Not every pickup's got it, but we can get it that way. We're not too far short of that.
Okay.
My question to Marvin is, you know, we're gonna have some guys that, well, you probably don't have to turn a computer on, okay? And they're great workers, but, so for Brooke and I, or Brooke to run, I think if we do it, it needs to be left up to my office to make sure it's done. Is there some kind of a form or something that we're gonna have to get the employee to sign to let us go on to their B&B account and pull that record? Or if we have them sitting beside us while we do it, is there still something we need to prove that they approved us looking at their, because I don't have the system in Georgia, so I can't just jump on and pull everything.
Is there a form currently? I know I don't have one. Can there be a form? I make forms every day.
Well, that's, there again, I think we need to watch our own tails, because if one of my employees all of a sudden says, what are you doing looking at my personal stuff?
Yeah, there's a form that they have to give authorization, and I can email it to you.
Okay, that's.
But if you're doing it through the B&B, you're gonna have to set them up an account.
Right.
They
Each
have to-
person.
They have to, see, Brooke and I both pay for our license drivers, or license plates online, going through that, and so we already had an account, so we both printed ours. But I guarantee you, there's probably not too many of the others that have that account. And then obviously I can look at it by bringing my computer and say, get on your account and run it out. But there's gonna be a few that we're gonna need to do it for. I just want to be able to go and say,
And we can do it for you.
okay,
That's what I'm saying. I mean, we can do, and I can probably go to our board and get an authorization to do so many free with the size of your account, but thereafter, I mean, you can give us the driver's, the name, date of birth, and driver's license number, and we can run it. And if we go over that amount that we're willing to do for free, then it's gonna be $10 a head.
Can't imagine we could do it any cheaper, honestly, on
No.
our own if we get some for free.
No, that's all we'd have to do is provide you with a list of people who can drive county vehicles. That's much easier to do than
Yeah.
to monitor all the employees and the turnover we have.
Full name, date of birth, and driver's license number.
and that would have to be done annually.
Well, that's what they're asking for, yeah. Definitely when they're hired. And then, probably annually after that.
Do you still have to do annual certification for each driver, certification of violations? Each driver sign one? Yeah,
You mean as far as giving permission to run the
I'm
EPR?
talking about CDL drivers.
Oh, okay.
Do we do that now?
Yes, we take care of all the CDL database and.
So if they get a violation,
Not really called for, but.
if they get a violation, they're supposed to let you know, fill that out, and then every year they're supposed to sign it, because that's their certification. Once they get it, the first check, would not something like that work?
Yeah, absolutely.
All of our guys have CDLs, everybody's in the group.
So, I guess we're gonna wait to hear back from Travelers then about what they want to look at.
If Mark lets us know by our next meeting.
Yeah, I'll get with David.
Yeah, if we can get that down to that, that makes it a lot easier for me.
And I would entertain the motion, then we table this until our next meeting and we get,
So made.
all in favor? Do we have any elected officials or department head comments this morning?
I think I've said enough.
I was kind of hoping we killed two birds with one stone there. Do we have any public comments this morning? Commissioner Michael, you have any announcements this morning?
No, but I have a question.
Okay.
If we didn't act on this, do we need to,
Yes, we do.
we need to approve that, I think?
I was hoping that was going to be your comment.
That's my comment. We have a pay request here, pay request number 4 for KWK, which is a contractor for the EMS. Did not get it in time to get with the other pay request. We'd like to go ahead and approve that upon signatures. And then after we get the signatures all on there, notarized, we will then pay it.
So would you like to make that a
I'll
motion?
make that a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Did you get all that, Heather? Commissioner Graves, you have any comments, announcements this morning?
I do not. Be careful out there.
Our next regular public meeting will be March the 4th, 9:30 a.m. in this room. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So made.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you all for coming.